Hi, I'm Mary, a librarian and book reviewer with a focus on stories written for kids, tweens, and teens. Today I get to share with you this book called Confessions of a Nerdy Girl, Unlucky 13, written by Linda Ray. This is the second installment in the Confessions of a Nerdy Girl series, and it focuses on Willis Shesby, who is adopted. So she was left by her birth mother at a year and a day old at an orphanage where she kind of found herself falling in line with some of the other kids who were less likely to be adopted. This was because she had a cleft lip, and that made people less inclined to want to take her home. That is until Ted, who is the dentist who comes to their orphanage, takes a liking to Willa and ultimately adopts her as his own. But Ted is the only one who really likes Willa for who she is. Her adoptive mother and sister are not as kind as Ted is to her, and this amplifies the struggles that she ends up having as she gets into middle school. So in this story, she is writing letters to her birth mother, who's unnamed because she doesn't know much about her, through diary entries over the course of about a year. So as she transitions from the age of 12 to 13, with all of the changes both hormonally and relationally within that time, there's a lot that people really need their mom for in that time. And so she's feeling a little bit of a lack of that role in her life, especially as she gets her period, as she's dealing with boys, and as she is facing the struggles that come from people not treating her as well as they should otherwise. But as we go through this story, Willa kind of comes into her own a little bit, stands up for those who need some support, much like many of the superheroes who also have come from a past that makes them feel like they can stand up for others, like they wish someone had stood up for them. And so similar to SpiderMan, who grew up without his parents, Willa finds herself wanting to support those who need it, especially friends at school who may not otherwise be treated well. So this story is written for middle grade readers, especially those who are transitioning into longer middle grade texts but aren't quite ready for the length of other standard middle grade texts. So there's images in here that kind of break up some of the text. There's white space between a lot of the lines. So for even reluctant readers, you've got ample white space for that visual respite. And because it's all written in Willa's voice with a lot of that accessible, familiar language and jargon, readers are going to really fall for Willa and be able to readily fall into her story as well. So if this sounds like a great fit for you, and this is the second book in the sequence, so even if you haven't read the others, this one does stand on its own, but it does give you more insight into Willa's life and more details about her past if you have read some of the other books. So if this sounds like a great fit for you, I hope you look for it at your favorite bookstore.